Naked people, sexual exploration, all-inclusive drinks and food in a magical place. Sounds amazing, doesn't it?
Life on the Swing Set is taking over Desire Resort in Cancun this November 4th through 11th. Desire is a place that celebrates our sexuality and allows for the kind of bacchanals we truly love. It's like sandals for the sexually explorative.
A takeover means our incredibly diverse, inclusive, and delightfully geeky group gets the run of the place.
We control the music, the events, the theme nights, the orgies, and all will be focused on making this the best way to do Desire Resorts, whether you're a swinger, polyamorous, a nudist, or just curious.
And for the kinky or kink curious, the pop-up dungeon will be back, along with workshops on pegging, anal, flogging, fisting, lap dancing, and pretty much anything else you can handle. And we'll kick it off with a little speed dating.
And we're thrilled to be joined by Tristan Taormino, author of Non-Monogamy Bible, Opening Up, and feminist porn filmmaker.
So come play with us.
JV,
Ginger,
Dylan,
Shara,
Cooper,
And Tristan Taormino.
and book now because less than 30 rooms remain. Head to ssdesire.com for more information.
for over 1,000 years, Western civilization has been stuck in a dark age of sexual repression and misinformation. We get an oversexed overload from the media, but nothing in the way of honest, helpful, practical information on sex and how to do it right. That sucks, and I'm fucking sick of it. My name's JV Altheras, and I've spent a couple decades learning everything I can about how to have amazing sex and more of it. Not in a classroom like a lot of people who talk about sex. I learned it all in the gutter, right where Mom told me I'd end up. It's my mission to bring an end to the sexual dark age with brutally honest talk and education on all aspects of sex and sexuality, in an atmosphere that will keep you entertained without treating you like an idiot. Shara and I are not doctors. Certifiable, perhaps, but not certified in any way. And that means we don't have to talk about vaginas and penises to maintain academic credibility. You got a problem with a vagina? Call a gynecologist. You want to learn more about pussies and cocks and how to make them happy? You've come to the right place. Greetings and welcome to episode 89 of Ending the Sexual Dark Age. Shara is starting the show by making silly faces at me.
It's just one of those moments when you know it's going to be one of those days.
Oh, I do. I wouldn't fuck you right before the show if I didn't want you in a good mood.
Well.
Oh, already. Shara's first blush of the show, and we are at 24 seconds.
Yay, me.
Well done, Slave.
Thank you. So
we had a very interesting time in San Francisco.
Very.
Well, in and around San Francisco. But I think one of the most standout things for me was this is the first time we ever traveled with zero specific plans of what we were going to do while we were there. And like between flights, everyone we were going there to see was pretty flexible, was willing to kind of go with the flow. So we got to show up and just kind of hang out. And it was an awesome experience.
It was probably the best experience in terms of our travel, that everything went so smoothly. There was just one thing, which we won't even discuss today. There was just one thing.
Well, you can't say that and not discuss it. You have met me before.
Well, yeah.
So now we have to start with the thing you don't want to discuss.
The phone call from your sister.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't even count as part of our trip.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. So, but she just tried to put a...
Yeah, no, my sister basically went off the deep end and... Yeah.
So we don't even need to talk about it because, the rest of the trip was...
Yeah, I wasn't even counting that. I already put that out of my head.
Oh, that was good. I'm glad.
But we got to hang out for a couple of days with one of my oldest friends, who I had not seen in 19 years. The last time I saw him was it was a birthday party in my 20s. Let's just say that.
And it was great to actually meet him because I had never met him and hear about him, see him on Facebook and all that, but never actually met him. And then for
I know to a certain extent you always wondered if my crazy fucking stories were true.
Oh no, let's be clear. I knew they were true. I remember I've met your friends and they all will confirm they're definitely true. But it was true what Naughty's Pet said, and that was like, there's no way this is all only from 2 years.
No way all those stories are for 2 or 3 years. But yeah, that was it. We hung out when he lived in Michigan. We hung out really tight for like 3 years, and it was an eventful, action-packed 3 years. We had some good fucking times. But what did Pat say? I thought my ex-husband and his friends were fucking crazy for riding out the back of pickup trucks and shopping carts and shit. No, that's reckless. That's not crazy. Real crazy takes dedication.
Yeah, so that was funny.
But yeah, so we hung out with him. We got to meet his girl. And
Very nice.
Yeah, we met. Next time we're in San Francisco, I'll probably not at this next trip because we are going for Folsom Street Fair.
Woohoo.
Yeah. Yeah, we will be sharing an Airbnb house with most of the balance of the Dungeon Master crew from Desire 5 weeks before we are with them again at Desire. So I'm expecting Folsom Street Fair weekend to be a pretty intense pre-party. That's going to be good times.
It will be fun.
Somebody was already asking if we're doing any early gangbangs. Oh, look at you.
I'm just
Have we told the audience that you're getting gangbanged at Desire?
I don't know. I don't know.
I better keep that handy.
I don't know.
For those who may be recent listeners, every time Shara uncontrollably blushes and looks horribly embarrassed, I try to share that glorious sight with the audience the only way I can on an audio podcast, which is with the xylophone.
Moving back to our trip. So yes,
we had no itinerary. I mean, we spent a lot of time going back and forth to San Francisco.
Our first evening was with Midori.
Yep, our first evening before we even went to the hotel.
Yes, before we went to the hotel.
We went to the private club where she is an artist in residence. She invited us for dinner and drinks, and we hung out there for a couple of hours.
Very kind of her. Thank you.
Yes, got to rub elbows with some of the fancy muckety mucks of the San Francisco area and Silicon Valley.
Yes, I like that, though. You're not allowed to use your cell phones there, and, you know.
Yeah.
Well, there's a certain area.
Yeah, it's in the evening, she said. People come there and work during the day, but she said it's like after 8 or something. You're not supposed to have any screens out.
And I like that.
Yep.
I do. I like that. So, if you want to use yours, then go to a certain area. And
was that the Battery Club?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it was very nice. It was very nice. And it was so great to see her and hear all about her exciting life happenings for her.
Yep. Yeah, her TEDx talk went wonderfully, I hear.
Yes, very well, she said. She said it went very well. And now she's getting ready to do her group that Gabrielle's going to be in.
Yep.
I so wanted to be in this one, but with our business the way it is, it's just impossible.
we're kind of bursting at the seams with travel budget this year already. So, yeah, another trip on a plane this year.
Well, it wasn't even that.
Not going to happen this year.
It wasn't even that. It was the fact that we're just bursting from the seams with the business. That was really more of time-wise. There's no way I could be gone right now. There's no way.
That's okay, because this is how we pay for the trips. So it's okay to be busy. But we are doing a better job of taking time out than we ever have. I mean, we're traveling a lot this year.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So, yeah. And,
So toy shopping in San Francisco. The last 2 times we have traveled was the San Francisco trip, and then Fetish Fair Flea was our last trip before that. Both times I showed up thinking of something specific that I wanted to buy, a kinky toy that I wanted to buy, and ended up buying the whole fucking place except for the thing that I showed up thinking I wanted. The first time it was a galley whip, which if you've never seen one, is kind of a combination between a flogger and a whip. It's got like usually a 12 to 18 inch rigid whip style handle, heavily woven, and then it branches out into however many, 8, 12, 16, depending on the design, braided tails. So it's kind of like a hybrid between a whip and a flogger. So after playing with one, I determined I was really excited about it, but after being able to play with a few of them and smack Shara with a few of them at the dealer's room at Fetish Fair Flea, I determined it was a little too much like a flogger and a little too much like a whip. I mean, you were either going to throw it like a whip or a flogger, so it was really kind of unnecessary in my mind in our toy collection. But bearing in mind, I am also the person who has a policy that you can never have too many floggers because they're all different and they're all special.
And who am I to say no?
So we bought floggers, we bought a violet wand, we bought all kinds of shit at Fetish Fair Flea, and we did not get a galley whip. So Naughty Irish and his pet offered to take us toy shopping, kind of a tour of San Francisco, which was nice. We had two different friends, two different sets of friends take us on tours of San Francisco, which is pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. We got a chance to see a lot of the city. And when people talk about the hills, they are not exaggerating. There are some weird fucking hairy hills in that city. One of my thoughts when we were driving around was, what a horrible place to have been a horse in the early 1900s. I mean, seriously. So when we were toy shopping this time, the idea was I wanted to get a flogger, because you could never have too many floggers, that was easy to sterilize. So I was thinking maybe something like rubber or latex or PVC or something. So we went to one of the legendary San Francisco leather shops called Leather Etc. They make all their own gear there, and they had a lot of really cool stuff. And we dropped a whole bunch of money there, but guess what we did not get at all? a rubber, PVC, or silicone flogger.
Well, we had them picked out, but...
Yeah, they kind of like the galley whip. They did not perform as we had imagined. Mm-hmm. You know, they kind of hit like a ton of bricks. And it makes sense after I got a chance to handle it because, you know, silicone and rubber are both heavy. So they're a lot heavier than leather. So it should not be surprising to me that they hit like a ton. But also the fact that if they get wet at all, they stick to the skin. You know, so I would almost see it as more of a punishment flogger. Maybe that's what I should have bought.
Yeah, maybe not. Moving on.
Yeah, she's shaking her head, looking disgusted. No, you don't want to do that.
I mean, not for me. I mean, let's say that we're playing in a dungeon and somebody's being bad and, you know, another dominant says, what am I going to do with my slave? You know, oh, well, look what I happen to have here. Instead of pulling out the stainless steel flogger that's been sitting in the ice for an hour.
Well, we always have that.
I know.
You can never have too many floggers.
No.
And I did post a picture. I went into packing for this trip with the honest intention of like bringing it back a little bit on the toys that we were taking. So I started going through the toys and I just started putting the stuff on the bed that I felt was really important that we definitely were going to use if we took with us. And anyone who follows me on Twitter saw the photo, which was still a whole goddamn suitcase worth of sex toys. I mean, well, sex toys. I shouldn't say sex toys, kink toys. We don't have that many dildos and shit because that's the difference between
I hide those.
Swinger's toy bag and our toy bag.
I hide those.
Well, it's because everything is a dildo for you.
Let's not discuss that. We're still stay on track. Oh, no. He's going to hit that again. Ugh.
I think we will talk about that.
I think not, Master. Please, of course not.
What's that?
I said, please, let's not discuss that.
Try it all at once.
Please, Master, let's not discuss that.
Okay.
Oh, that was hard for you to say, wasn't it?
It was.
Oh, that felt good to me.
But that's why I make you be properly. That's the only thing where I'm a formalist. And I think you're glad I'm not a formalist in other ways.
Yes, I am. Oh.
But yeah, so while we were out there, we also had a chance to, Shara had a chance to explore Alpha Slave, like sort of topping while we were playing with one of our local friends.
Yeah.
She's like, oh yeah, that was okay. Yeah, you seemed to be pretty into it while we were playing.
I think it was okay, you know. I don't think I was, you know.
Well, we've played with other people in the past. You've never really taken on the Alpha Slave role. And it wasn't something we talked about. It wasn't like at least it wasn't something you talked about with me. I don't know if you had already decided that you were going to go there if we ended up playing or not, but you certainly seemed to embrace it, and it was a lot of fun to watch you work.
Well, she's a sweetheart. She really does get along with both of us very well.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's a sweetheart. Besides being very pretty, she's very bubbly and, you know, sweet. And, you know, she's somebody that how could anybody not like her?
Oh, very true.
So how could anybody not like her?
I think your quote of the trip might have been when I said, wow, that was a lot of fun playing with her last night. And you said, of course you like playing with her. She's a female you.
I did say that. And you didn't like that I said that, but I said
No,
that.
then I ran the numbers in my head and I realized,
Shara's right.
Yeah, there's no denying that one.
Shara's right.
She is definitely a fellow libertine.
Yes. Yeah. She definitely is. So, yes, she was a lot of fun.
But so the one really kind of big thing that we did was going to the erotic dinner with our Gourmet Life, because I want to spend some time talking about that.
Okay, but I want to back up for a second because I do want to say that the Desire trip that's going to be coming up in November, which I know there's still a few rooms left, if not, I mean, I don't know how many.
No, they are going quick, but there are still rooms left.
But that's where we met her, was at the Desire trip. And so it's kind of fun to be able to go places and meet up with people that...
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the things about the Desire trip is we have friends that are scattered all over the Western Hemisphere in a way that we probably never would have if we had not started doing this trip.
Yes. And I want to also say it's not all about, the sex or any of that. I mean, helpful, of course. But
the sex is great. We're not saying we don't want the sex.
But it's the bonding with other people that are very sincere people. It's that part of it that really is enlightening when you think back about reasons that you go somewhere, but then what actually happens when you're there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Nadi's pet, she's been a great comfort to me in, different things that would come up.
Fellow bus driver.
Yes, she's definitely a bus driver. And I always tell her she's not always a good bus driver. She's out there driving that bus and slam.
I'm usually entertained.
And Sexy Pixie and Gabriella, Mrs. Duncan, and I can't think right now of the other one's name that, so not revealing the source.
Yeah.
So
no accepted and understood internet pseudonym.
Yeah. So, but anyway, great group of people that, I got the chance to see several times already since Desire.
Yep.
So it's just a great way to, when you're having a bad day, to be able to reach out to them and say, hey, what did you do in this situation? Or have any you been in this situation? So it's just a great time.
Yes, I've also found that my close camaraderie with our fellow perverts is making it much easier to plan filthy scenes, come up with interesting shit to do to all of you submissives.
Oh, and that we just do not want you guys to do that, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
No,
I know that's your favorite part too. You all like to complain, but we know it's a show. It's all for show.
Comical, all of you, comical. Make us laugh and make us squirming at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah. Squirming and then laughing. Laughing and then squirming. Because we're like, no. Yes. No. Yes. So, on to the erotic dinner.
Let's get to that right after this. When we were researching budget bondage gear at a listener's request, we stumbled onto extremerestraints.com and found the most impressive bondage gear site on the internet. And we don't say that lightly.
We bought a bunch of toys to try them out, and we're so impressed with the selection, quality, and service that we reached out to them about sponsoring the show.
From basic whips to top-notch floggers, from beginner cuffs to shackles and cages, from nipple clamps to fucking machines, from budget to bad fucking ass. ExtremeRestraints.com has put together an immense catalog of kinky gear that we honestly believe is second to none on the internet.
And not only do they offer a free gift and 99-cent toys for new customers, plain brown wrapper shipping, and free shipping on orders over $119, they'll give you 10% off if you enter the promo code ESDA at checkout.
And that's not 10% off on your first order. It's 10% off every order, forever, as long as you enter the code. Because they're awesome and they support this show. You can listen to episode 70 for more details, or just check out ExtremeRestraints.com, use the promo code ESDA, and get your kink on. So, as I said, or as we said, we arrived in San Francisco with no particular plans of what we were going to do. So Midori suggested that we check out Our Gourmet Life, which is it is a company run by Chef Chris Hubbard that does private erotic dinners. And he does all of her erotic dinners with her. They'd go along with her retreats. So he is her provider on that. And so we were in the same venue. And it was, well, she suggested it to us. We checked it out online. And I was a little hesitant at first because he had descriptions on his website of the different, what was scheduled. And what happened to be scheduled that weekend was an introductory level erotic dinner. And my first response to that is what it typically is. We're generally not introductory level. And that's just because we host events, not specifically this kind of event, but we host events. We hang around with fairly dedicated perverts. So usually we're like intermediate level and above when it comes to erotic and kinky stuff. So I called the chef. His number was on the website. I talked to him for about 10 or 15 minutes, and he is a very experienced, open, kinky person. So we were able to, kind of communicate on the same level, which was nice. So basically this is the level of entertainment at this introductory style dinner is something that pretty much anyone would be comfortable with. I mean, anyone who's comfortable with sexy stuff. There wasn't.
Well, remember they had cards, and you would put it one way face up if you were okay with the staff interacting with you, and you would. Or not limiting what they would possibly do.
Right.
And the card, the other way would be like, I'm not sure, or whatever. I'm not really sure what that would have entailed because none of us put that card side up. So it was like, go ahead, do whatever to any of us.
Yeah. So we decided, after a little bit of conversation, that we were going to go try it out anyway. Because Midori had recommended it so highly. Mm-hmm. We're like, oh yeah, we'll go check it out and it'll be a great meal regardless. And
Midori really did push it because she's like, did you schedule? Did you call?
Well, and I said kind of the same thing to her that we've been talking about. Like, this is introductory weekend. So she said, just go. Stop thinking about it. Just go. You'll have a good time.
Yeah. And she was
we
right.
did. Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of very sexy performance. Mm-hmm. There were volunteer performers, mm-hmm. Many very sexy, very attentive people. Mm-hmm. It was very sensual, very erotic. Based on talking to him a little bit, the intermediate level dinners are more sexual, so they push it a little farther, but it is entertainment for hire in the city of San Francisco. So, they get more open-minded, but no play below the waist under any circumstances because that's a legal thing. Right. However, there's very nice play space mm-hmm. that everybody is welcome to hang around after dinner and take advantage of the very nice play space in the loft.
Oh my gosh, that shower. It was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, giant stone shower fit for a party.
And it was literally like a whole room to itself, basically.
Oh, yeah.
It was huge. Huge.
Yeah, and the food was wonderful. I'm in the process, I may not have gotten around to the point yet, but I'm in the process of recommending that anybody who's in San Francisco and has the opportunity try out our Gourmet life. And if you are if you swing or you play openly in a kinky environment, it is something that is a regular part of your life that you're comfortable with, I would say probably start with the intermediate level dinner. Mm-hmm. If you are not quite of that experience level or you're curious, I think the introductory dinner is probably a very good place to start. I mean, I think we could take anyone we knew to that, and I don't think they would, if they chose not to interact, they could flip their card over and not necessarily interact with the performers and be perfectly comfortable. Right. It was sexy, but not sexual.
Right. And, I would just say that the price might sound like, oh my gosh, I don't know. It's worth every penny.
Well, and the way to look at it, this is part of my conversation with Chef Hubbard. It is certainly no more than you would pay for a meal of the caliber that you will receive mm-hmm. in a fine restaurant. So it is certainly no more expensive than that.
With some great, absolutely positively great entertainment.
Yes.
It's a show.
So you can go with her. He has the option to do with or without wine pairings. You're free to bring your own wine. I recommend going with the wine pairings. One, if a chef is presenting a wine with a course, it's generally going to go very well with the course. It's probably going to increase your enjoyment, and you're probably not going to be able to anticipate unless you only like one kind of wine to drink, or you're someone who prefers liquor and doesn't like wine or whatever, you're probably better off just going with the wine pairings because it'll enhance the experience. I'm glad we decided to do that instead of bringing our own wine.
kind of got lost in the entertainment, so I didn't drink very much.
One warning or piece of advice I would give to anybody who is not used to fine dining. A professional chef doing this level of cuisine is always going to challenge your palate. You're going to find flavor combinations that you probably have never thought of, because that's one of the things that a high-end chef does, is try to figure out uncommon flavor combinations that are also very appealing. That also means there's a decent possibility that you may or may not like one of the courses. And that's okay. Nobody's going to be offended if you don't clean your plate. I have a genetic defect. I don't know if we talked about it on the show before, but I have the genetic defect that makes cilantro taste like soap, and a lot of very aromatic foods become very pungent and offensive to me. And that has gotten a lot better as I've gotten older. Like when I was a kid, blue cheese made me literally want to throw up. And that has gotten better as I've been older, but I am frequently, especially if there was one course that didn't really do it for me. And that's just because it had a lot of those very strong aromatic flavors. So I took a bite, it didn't work for me, but there were 5 other courses.
Right.
So it's.
But going into it, we probably could have. Well, it was kind of last minute for us, so he really couldn't have changed.
Yeah, and he asked if there were
menu.
any dietary preferences, but that's the reason I didn't go to culinary school, is because I knew that even though, regardless of how much I love cooking, I have this big blind spot in my palate, basically. And then the other thing I would say is, again, with this level of cuisine, you typically have small portions because you have a lot of courses. Mm-hmm. Dinner was over the course of a couple of hours, basically 2.5 hours for dinner and
I
entertainment.
lost track of how long it took.
But take the time to enjoy the appearance of your food, because people have spent a great deal of care both conceiving and executing the plating, the appearance. It's an opportunity to give your palate something new and exciting,
Yes,
even beside the entertainment.
So when one of the servers is bringing you your plate and then kissing you on the side of your neck or something like that, just look at that plate, because, you'll enjoy both.
I got a very nice scalp massage.
Yes, you did. She was very good.
Yeah.
I did too, but she really took care of you.
Then I got reverse motorboated. That was funny. But yeah, and then there's a competition. He has rolled up menus with the menu for the evening, and then there is a piece of red ribbon that's tying it up, and they have a fun little competition to see who can do the most creative thing with the ribbon. So of course I am me, and I see something that can be used to tie things, and I'm instructed to try and do something creative with it. So my wheel spun for a little while on that, and I went outside the spirit of the original competition. But
imagine my shock on that.
Yeah, Chef Hubbard seemed surprised when I asked him how much more ribbon there was. And I think he got an indication I might be going in a different direction. So we did not qualify for the prize, but I think we did have more fun playing.
Well, our friend that we took with us, she said that we took the prize.
Well, really, we did take the prize. We didn't get the award.
And I was okay with that, because she was good too, the person that won.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's all in good fun anyway.
Yeah, it was. So.
Yeah, but I got to lash the two of you to one of the support columns for the roof, and then let the performers have their way with you for a few minutes. That was fun to watch. It
was fun to have done. What am I going to say? It was fun.
Well, there was a moment there after I tied the two of you up where I looked around and I noticed all the performers watching. I'm like, well, I've got backup. And all I had to do was invite them to do whatever they pleased to you. Mm-hmm. And it looked like that worked out fairly well for both of you.
Well, I would say
Shadow knows. Everyone, that's Shadow.
She's letting us know that she's going to sit here quietly.
She is starved for attention this afternoon. So we did have a great night there, and it was a great way to, we approached it as kind of like an appetizer for playing later, and it certainly did the job on that. So,
it sure did.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun playing that night, and that was a late night. We damn near watched the sun come up.
Mm-hmm. We did. We did.
Yes, highly recommended. It's at Our Gourmet Life, no clever spellings, on Twitter, and OurGourmetLife.com. Chef Chris Hubbard, and since I'm sure he'll hear this eventually, thank you, Chef, for a wonderful evening.
Yes, thank you very much.
We definitely intend to see you again, hopefully for one of your intermediate dinners, if the stars align and you are having one the next time we happen to be in San Francisco.
It would be great.
So is there anything else you would like to talk about the trip?
All of it was just such a great time. I really, it's like I'm in awe of that trip. Well,
San Francisco is such a great city. And next time we'll be staying in the city. So we got that. We got a nice big Airbnb house for all 8 of us, all 4 couples.
Yes, it was definitely a great trip.
Yeah. The only thing that would have made it better is less time traveling back and forth to the city. So we've learned that lesson now.
No, it didn't bother me though, because we were able to have conversation.
Oh yeah.
With great people that were kind enough to say, "Oh, we'll take you here and there." So it was great.
And I bought art.
Yes, you
while
did.
we were there.
Yes.
We showed up. Well, I've got this t-shirt that has this little chihuahua holding onto the back of this big English bulldog, fucking her, and saying, "Take it all, bitch." And it's just, he's this little tiny dog, and it's just a hilarious shirt. And I happened to be wearing it that day. And a woman walked out of an art gallery. We got out of the car.
Because we were going to the toy store.
Yeah, the first toy stores we stopped at, it was Toy Store, Art Gallery, Toy Store, which was fairly entertaining. And the art gallery was just opening up, or they were just setting up for their grand opening actually. And she happened to be there, and she saw my shirt, and she came out and asked if she could take a picture of it. Yeah. And so we talked a little bit and ended up going inside the gallery, and there were some paintings that had just been hung up that morning, because again they were just getting set up. And there were several abstracts, and a couple of them just really caught my attention.
They sure did.
Yeah. And
take him into a toy store, catches his attention. Take him into an art gallery, and catches his attention.
Well, no, not always. I mean, I'm always on the lookout for art, but I shop a lot more than I buy. Very rarely do I see something and say, I've got to have that.
So I wanted to mention at the gallery that was interesting was some of the BDSM artwork that they had up there. I don't know if you caught that or not.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there was some kinky stuff. Well, in San Francisco.
Pictures.
Yeah.
I took pictures. So I should share them on Twitter.
There was a wall full of abstracts, and there were 3 of them that I really kind of liked. There was one that just jumped out at me as something that belonged on one of my walls because the colors matched perfectly and the style was just, it was filling an open space that had been sitting open for a while. And then there were 2 others that I liked, but not quite as much. So I asked the lady running the gallery when they were going to get priced, and she said, "Well, the artist is thinking about." The artist was supposed to come up and price them today, but she had no idea when. And she gave me his phone number. So typically, artists like to hear that somebody wants to buy stuff, and it worked out that instead of, trying to talk about price over the phone, he just came up to the gallery. So we hung around for a while. So I got to meet the artist. He's a local guy named Toby Wiggins, who has worked in a lot of media. Painting, he said, was a little bit new for him. So he
did a good job for it being new.
Yeah. But he wasn't, he was not a young man, but he had not done paint before. He'd done art in a lot of other media, and he was a jeweler. So we talked a little bit, and we came up with a fair price for 2 of the pieces. And then he walked up to have them packaged up and shipped home. And we had a chance to chat while we were doing that. So it was really cool.
Very.
Nice little unexpected detour.
Before we went to the other toy stores.
Yes, well, we weren't shopping those were like fairly run-of-the-mill toy stores. Those are sex shops.
But we went to the other one after those 2.
Yeah, Leather Etc. was the 3rd one that we went to. And then we went to Mr. S. Leather, which is another landmark leather shop. And they had a lot of great stuff in there, but it was not... We were shopping for impact toys, and they have an entire very impressive store full of clothing and gear of all different varieties. It's aimed primarily at gay men, but there's also a lot of kink gear that is obviously unisex.
Obviously.
But their impact toy department is fairly small there. So we would not have found what we were looking for, what we were shopping for on that trip. We would not have found in Mr.
No,
S.
we would not have. No.
But what did we find when we went in for, I should get a silicone flogger. We found, we got a flogger that was bought to be a gift. We got some warm-up floggers. We got Shara a new collar and cuffs, which was due. Mm-hmm. So that was, they happened to have some really nice stuff there, but you were due for a new collar, and we never had a full set of matching cuffs for you.
No.
So instead of trying to shop online, that's the kind of stuff we really prefer to buy in person anyway from some place that's got a selection.
It's more fun anyway.
Yeah, you get to try stuff on. You get to play dress up with bondage gear. It's good times.
Fun.
They also had really nice leather kilts at Leather Etc.
Yes, they did.
And I'll buy one from them when I'm in the market for a $550 leather kilt. But it's well worth it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a kilt that is worth $550. It's just an item that happens to come with a high price tag if you're going to wear one. But yeah, so we'll probably be back in that store, or we'll buy from them online or whatever. But I like the fact that they make all their own gear upstairs. I like that a lot.
Won't be far away from them soon.
That's true. I'm sure we'll stop back in there for Folsom Street Fair.
You think? I think you could be right.
Yeah, so it's about time to wrap this episode up. But a couple of things for the audience, in case you have not heard on Facebook and Twitter, or if you're not don't interact with us there. We now have Tristan Tormino confirmed as a host with us on the Desire trip.
Yay!
Be nice to have some different energy, some fresh energy.
Mm-hmm.
And after podcasting with her with the swing set, it definitely sounds like we're going to have some fun.
Sounds like it.
She'll be joining us, and there are still a few rooms left. ssdesire.com will get you all the information on the trip. And if you are up for a little bit of an adventure, whether you want to play hard or just spectate and enjoy a little voyeurism, we have got something that is exactly your speed.
Exactly.
Shara's giving me the eye like she wants me to wrap it up so we can go play some more.
You think? I wouldn't come back and do another podcast.
So that brings this episode to a close. Thanks as always for listening. We would be eternally grateful if you are an iTunes user, if you would stop by and rate and or review the podcast on iTunes.
Please, please, please. And if you want to say that you don't like the xylophone, it's okay. You can, put that somewhere, can't you?
Shara's been trying to get people to complain about the xylophone for years now. All they ever said, it used to be a bell, and they said the bell was shrill. But since we switched to the xylophone, I don't think that one person has taken your side. Our friends have asked us to bring the actual xylophone to Desire.
Swinger Doc, he is an instigator.
Yeah, so that'll be on the table for our group dinner.
Instigator.
You can rest assured.
And Sexy Pixie just goes right along with that. I think, you should.
We're probably the only ones on the resort to bring Fisher-Price sex toys. Although we do hang with some pretty creative people. So.
Yes, we do.
Maybe I ought to withdraw that.
Very creative people. Very creative people. Scary how creative.
Yeah, so thanks again for joining us. And until next time, this is JV and Shara reminding you that sex is one of the greatest things in life, but there is always room for better.
Always.